Cameron Kickletter here for HGTV, and today I am joined by Larry Jerome of Jerland Farms. So thank you for being here. Fun fact, I was obsessed with Giovanni when I was a young guy. Just loved him to pieces. So it's cool that I actually get to do this. I met you in Scottsdale, got to present an award to you. So yeah, I'm excited we get to have a long-form conversation. So you are having a pretty good show so far. So why don't you tell me a little bit about some of the success you've had?
Well, for me, coming to the U.S. Nationals is like Christmas. I not only get to see great horses, but I get to see a lot of my friends, people who I've been in the industry with for many, many, many years. We all share, the same passion for the horse and for our showing and everything. For me, the showing, we've been having a lot of success, and we're showing in the halter arena, we're showing in the Western arena, and we're showing in the English arena. We've had some horses that have been in performance halter. Many of these horses are horses that I no longer own, but they're horses that I bred, and I still follow their careers very closely. But for me, coming to the show and watching all of these shows and the progress and seeing these horses in the arena is how I validate what I do, my passion. Do I like what I see? Was this a good decision? Or, what are going to be how am I going to redefine my goals going forward and things like that. So.
Awesome. So I know that you have you were mentioning your breeding philosophy, and I personally haven't heard it. So I'm really excited to hear it because I know that you have a lot of stallions, all for specific reasons. So tell me a little bit about your philosophy.
For me, the key has always been you have to basically pave your own road. You have to decide what your passion is. You should never have to be convinced about if somebody's trying to tell you that this animal is perfect this way or whatnot. I mean, it's typically your own common sense, your own intuition is probably the best key to help you follow those things. Of course, you learn by going, and you learn by working with people who have been successful, and you can monitor your values after their successes. But I am one who totally believes that any type of animal that I breed has a purpose. Whether it is a dog, and because I'm in the German Shepherd world, I do lots of dogs for special needs children, for handicapped adults. We're highly supported by the VA, things like that. But that animal has to have a mind, but it also has to have the body to carry that mind around, and that body has to be structurally correct. The purpose of a horse was not, I always said the purpose of a horse was not to sit at VIP tables. It's not an accolade about, that type of thing. A horse is a beast of burden. It was made to be ridden, and maybe we have grown away from some of those things, today because we don't need a horse for those things, but still, it's an animal that needs to be structurally correct. It needs to be intelligent. It needs to have a sound temperament. Those are all traits that you do. I was huge in the dairy cattle industry. We had one of the elite registered Holstein herds in the world. But there again, the cow must be structurally correct. She has to have the capacity to eat a lot of feed, turn that into milk. She has to be able to walk in and out of the barn, and her mammary system has to be strong so she can do these things physically, And we all have choices in life, and sometimes I've used this comment many times, but if you're going to be married, find yourself an extremely good-looking, intelligent wife.
All right.
That's good genetics. If you want to have children, those are the qualities that you want to perpetuate in things. Now things don't always work out, but why not set your goals high, and you can keep redefining those goals and going for a higher and higher standard all the time. But it's every time you meet somebody or you do something, you will learn something. It may not be something that is going to impact your life in a positive way. It might impact your life in a negative way, but you learn something. Correct. Now, what you take and choose to do with that information is largely what's going to, affect you going down the road. So I have always believed, as I said, that I think horses must be beautiful. They must be structurally correct. We deal with such an intelligent breed here that has the ability to think and to serve us, but you have to be respectful of it, but you can have the beauty, you can have everything, but recognizing, a lot of people become very barn blind when they are looking at their own animals. I've always said I spend a tremendous amount of time at the show ring when I'm here, and I have my book, and I have my stickers all over my book because I don't want anybody to steal it.
I've seen this book before, actually. It's impressive how meticulous you are with this.
Well, I need to read this, I need to study this, and I need to go back and say, this is what I learned, this is what I didn't learn. So many people, I've mentioned this to so many people who are watching their horses, how did you think my horse looked? Well, your horse looked very good. Well, I thought he just had the perfect go. But the problem is, when you were watching your horse go, you only watched your horse.
Right. You weren't comparing it to everybody else.
You did not watch the class. You cannot. That's when your daughter is singing in the third grade school concert. You are taking a video of her. You're not paying any attention to the other kids. You don't know you're oblivious to what's going on, and that's the same thing that happens in the show ring. So I've always said, if you want to learn to judge, go and watch the class that you have nothing to do with.
Right.
You have no horses in this class.
Right.
Now go watch, start selecting your animals based on what you like.
Mm-hmm. You have to be objective.
As a breeder, anytime you make a decision, and I've talked to people about this many, many times, people who have come to me and they picked up a mare here, and she's a nice mare, but we thought we'd breed her one time, just to see what we get, To me, that's not the type of objectivity you use when you're breeding, because as a breeder, you made a decision that you're going to bring a baby into the world. Now, as someone who brings that baby into the world, whether it be a puppy, a calf, a dog, or whatever, a horse, you have to find it a home. And you need to find the best home that you can find for it. Nobody wants to raise horses to see them end up in kill pens. But horses are going to be of varying qualities. And we can all breed for this elite halter horse. And you can see how many thousands of horses are registered every year, but you really only have a few that peak into that area of super quality. So what happens to all the rest of those horses? I mean, in our program, we have quite a number of foals every year, and I scrutinize from the time that they are born, but we handle every foal 2 times a day. We started out in the birthing barn with 2 girls that take and start loving on the babies, hugging them, rubbing them down, working around mama. Then they start being led in and out of the pastures. The mares go in and out 2 times a day. We make it very inconvenient because you have to put the hands on the horse. If you chase them in the barn, if you chase them into a box stall, you don't hand them. So you need to start this handling process, and by doing these things, and then at weaning time, then we separate, and we have a farm that's called the R&R farm, where mares that have had babies that are not going to maybe have a baby this year, they go for running the pastures to be with other mares. But the babies are all going to go to a baby farm where they meet a new person who is going to handle them 2 times a day, in and out. They go into a wooden paddock so they can be safe and whatnot. And then after they're weaned from there, then they're going to end up at the boys are going to end up at the boy farm. The girls are going to end up at the girl farm. The boys go there. It's something I learned from Sheila Varian, is that you run those boys together and you let them bite and kick and beat the snot out of one another. They need to grow up. They need to learn the herd environment so they are accepted when they start going into a show ring, that they don't get flustered. The girls have things a little bit more delicate. They don't fight. They're not quite so nasty. Of course, as they get older, they get to be a little bit, a little bit more difficult. And then at approximately 2 years of age, of course, I've been watching these all this time, and I'm getting to feeling of, okay, I've got 14 boys here. Who's going to make it as stallion quality? Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe nobody. So in the fall of the 2-year-old year, we have a gelding party. If you're fortunate to be, if you're fortunate enough to make it into the stallion situation, there. But then those geldings, I now have an obligation to find homes for them so they can go. And it's no different really than when I sell a puppy to somebody. I'm going to sit down with you and I'm going to ask you all kinds of questions. Tell me about you. Tell me about your life. You have a family, kids, no kids. What do you like to do? You're a hunter. You run marathons, things like that. Those types of things tell me a lot about who you are. For example, if you're a hunter or a fisherman, it's usually a very patient individual. Somebody who can sit on a lake and watch a bobber all day is patient. If you are running, 26-mile marathons, chances are you're pretty intense. So if you have a handicapped child, or if you have, you have somebody that needs, that you want, have a very soft-spoken wife or something like that, we want to give you something that's going to temperament, is going to mesh with you. So when I'm talking to trainers and things like that, and I know many of my trainers, I kind of have a philosophy with them that, that they can get a horse, take it in training, but they are expected to follow through on their training, and they are expected to help find a good home for this horse. Because I don't want to feed him forever. I want to go watch him in the ring, but I'm happy to help see everybody collect the ribbons, but I can't afford to do that as much as I would love to own them forever. And I think that's one of the hardest things for people who get involved in the breeding game, whether it's any type of livestock, is you have to sell the good ones. The job is to find homes for these horses, and to have people who win, like the girl who won the performance halter class here this year has a very special horse by the name of Kiri that I sold through Allie Brady. And this gal she won the performance halter, and she is so overwhelmed with emotion. She can't thank me enough. She can't thank, she's so excited about that. That's the kind of home you want to sell them to. It's the kind of home where somebody sends you a picture of a puppy that says it's the best dog I ever had in my life. You need to know that you've provided that service. And even though I've had a lot of horses, my horses are very, very emotional and very, very important to me. You mentioned Giovanni. Giovanni was probably, after my stint with Herman Blaser in producing the national champion L.H. Garcia, I really kind of dropped out of things, and then Herman was aging, so we saw this horse show at the Nationals, and I was very happy that he didn't win. He stood third. So therefore, Some people allow the judge to make the decision, but we bought that horse, who is one of the most brilliant, one of the most beautiful-minded horses in the world.
One of the sexiest horses I think I've ever seen.
But that horse taught me so much about life because he broke his leg when he was 5 years old. We were sailing for the first time in my life. I thought everything was going to go right. I had been through some real financial struggles, some other health issues and things like that, open heart surgery and whatnot. And everything was going right. And then I got a phone call from Jeff Shaw, and the rug was pulled out from underneath me because my horse's leg was broken. And I didn't know how I was going to really go on, and I bought Giovanni because of another horse by the name of Kadraj that I admired so much, but I never dreamt that he could ever be a part of my life. Well, Giovanni ended up in California and with Greg Galoon, where they nicknamed him Giovanni Phelps because after he healed from his leg injury, he was swimming in the pool all the time, but he just continued to heal. And but when I went there to put this all together with Greg, it's like I was going to go out and eat that evening with Nancy and Greg, and I fell asleep on the bed, and there was a light glowing, and it was, I have strong religious convictions, and it was like I had a vision, and Gia was talking to me and saying, when are you going to stop feeling sorry for yourself and start going on about the business of living? And this horse is so intuitive. He has taught me so much. What he has gone through, he's going to be 20 years old this year. He's now having a lot of problems because he had 7 breaks and splints in his bad leg, but now his good leg is starting to give him problems, and we have bone on bone, so we're struggling with this, but it's like when you walk in to see him, it's still like, it's okay. You know, he tells you life is okay, and you can learn so much from your animals, and through Kadraj, I ended up with when I got Kadraj, I brought along a very famous mare from Sheila had bred by the name of Promise V, and Promise V gave me an incredible young colt by the name of Kaja. And Kaja is everything that I could ever want, you know, in a breeding stallion, the looks and everything like that. Is he a national champion in performance or halter? No, but there again, he had some things that kind of set him back. But as a breeding stallion, he is making his mark. He's the father to Cola. Kaja is on the top breeding list of stallions, and he's only had his first foal crop was only 6 or 7 foals, and he made it with those 6 or 7 foals. And Giovanni, after he broke his leg, a lot of people, it's out of sight, out of mind. They didn't use him. So it was kind of like I had to start all over, you know, but one thing that I've always told people is that, you know, having a mother who read us a lot of nursery rhymes and things like that, I believe in the story of the little red hen. Who's going to help me prepare the ground? Who's going to help me sow the wheat? Who's going to help me hoe the wheat? Who's going to help me harvest the wheat? Who's going to help me bake the bread? Who's going to help me eat the bread? Everybody's going to be there to eat the bread, but a lot of people don't want to do the work. Well, with Gio, after this happened, and I had to start all over, you can't go to the show ring with him and things like that, so it was up to me to create great mares, of which I produced some pretty phenomenal mares that we have a very consistent breeding program where everything kind of looks the same, and when you have that, then you kind of know how to breed. And we've had national champion Miss Giovanna, we've had national champion Carmel J, We've had national champion Unforgettable Jay. We've had, well, there's a number of them, but today I have this phenomenal group of brood mares that are Giovanni based, but Cadrage was purchased because I believe that Cadrage was the ideal horse. The salon horses were the ideal horse on that thing. And so we started producing the families like, you know, Blue Moon. So I bought an embryo from another great mare, and people think maybe I bought it because that mare is a great mare. Well, that mare is Triana. And yes, she is a very great mare, but I did not buy the embryo because she was a great mare. I bought it because of how she is bred. Because all of my great half arrows from Blue, Blue on Blue, Bluer than Blue, Blue Blue, Mr. Blue Sky, all of those blue horses, which are all musical names, are all go back on a horse by the name of Saitosk. And that, it was one of the most phenomenal nicks with Geo that we ever made. And so we produced that. So then when we ended up with Unforgettable, who is a Giovanni daughter, and I think that if she's not, I believe she's the best daughter Triana ever, best foal Triana ever had. And she has gone on to consistently produce. And last night we introduced to the world her son, Ansiedad. It's another Nat King Cole song. And we didn't win the class, but we booked 5 mares last night and we booked 3 today.
Well, there you go.
It's not just about what his performance was in the ring. It's the fact that he's a complete horse, he has a good mind, and he also genetically has the ability to tie in with some of these great horses, because that's always the foundation of what you're doing. Is you have to have a foundation. And right now we're stallion poor, but I've got a couple other pretty good ones. You know?
I was gonna say, you have quite a few stallions that you're standing.
Yeah, Puccini was just, Puccini's gonna be brought back out this year, and but what Shelley and I love to do is we always invite visitors to come to the farm, and it's not really about necessarily trying to sell you a horse. It's that I get excited sharing what I do. And my problem is like sitting here with you here, Cameron, I get wound up on this stuff, and it's hard for me to shut down.
I was gonna say, I don't think anybody could ever say that you're not passionate and thorough about this. I mean, I could sit here and talk to you about this all day long. I think it's so fascinating. But I guess my question to you at this point is, when you look to the future for your farm, what does the future look like for your farm? What are you focusing on?
Well, the future is kind of a hard thing for me.
How so?
Because I'm not young and virile like you. There's going to become, I've accepted that at some point my life I'm not going to be able to do these things. So I have to be a good steward of, I was given an opportunity in the cattle. I got bought into a herd of cattle that the man had produced 4 generations of excellence, with each cow producing a 40,000 pound milk record. I took that record to 10 generations. Then you have to turn over the torch to somebody else. I look at every new buyer, every new owner of my horses, are you a candidate to maybe help carry on what I believe in? At my age, if horses live to be 25 or 30 years of age, there's a lot of horses that are going to be living after I'm gone. Not that I'm on my death row or anything like that, but it's a realistic thing, and you have to, so by being a good steward, I have to accept this, and I haven't totally accepted it yet because I'm still running like...
I was gonna say, you're still pretty active in all this, so.
But but I do have to take this responsibility of what I created very seriously, and they have to have good homes. Because there's nothing that makes me sadder than to find out that, there's something to go. I mean, it's even with our dogs. Very few Jerland dogs ever end up in a shelter, because I try to pick homes and they're a forever home. With our horses, I try to pick homes that are forever homes. And it's, I think that that's just, whether you're a farmer and you're farming the land, but you have to be a good steward, you have to be a good citizen, and God has given you these gifts, and you have to use them wisely, and you have to return them back to, those who are going to care for it in the future.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, I guess my biggest pride is my family. I have 7 children and I have 24 grandchildren.
Wow.
I was a tough dad. I really was. I expected my kids to be musicians. I'm a musician. I expected my kids to go to the barn and to work hard. I expected them to get good grades. I expected them to have good values. And self-praise stinks, but I have really great kids. And they have lived up to these things. And in a day and age when it is so difficult to find people who want to work, you have people who think that they're entitled to do things. I have kids that all know how to work very, very hard. And they never really complained about it because that was just the way life was. Yeah, I forgot my one daughter out in the hayfield raking hay one day and forgot to take her lunch. And, and I had a few other things like that I was a little bit...
What, you said 6 kids, 7 kids?
7 kids.
7 kids. I think it's logical that you might forget one every now and then.
Well, but we were all working hard, and but we all worked together. We all played together. My wife is a saint. It's not easy to probably live with somebody like me who is so intense and so focused on everything. About the only thing that allows me to relax is my music. I played in the band, and I played piano bar, and I did lots of things. I now play for church services all over. I'm the wedding singer, the funeral singer, that kind of stuff. But I try to get something out of every day, and I think that in the horse industry, I want to be remembered that I was fair, that I was honest, that I did not take advantage of somebody trying to sell them a horse. If they feel that way, I'll try to do anything I can to make it right. But it's easy to allow some of those things to happen if you don't stick to your values and that type of thing. And that's truthfully what I want to be. I want to be remembered for the great horses that I produced. I loved Sheila Varian. She was an incredible woman. I had the honor of being with her, and she wanted to see me in the end. I had a lot of my horse friends who are no longer here. Herman Blaser, Evelyn Burton, people who had Gazon and imported Aramis, and all of these people who have passed. But the thing I remember about Evelyn was, as a little boy, was going up to her farm when I had my first foal, which was my dad had bought a foundered mare. It was kind of nasty. She bit me in the back, and I think that he was hoping that I would get this horse stuff out of my system. So I would go up and I would buy halters because Evelyn Burton had a tack stall in her garage. And I just loved to go up there and smell the leather. And so I'd make excuses so we'd have to go to Rice Lake. And so when I was there, Evelyn would say to my mother, well, Mrs. Jerome, why don't you go and Larry will stay here with me? And she would take me by the hand. I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and we would walk out into the pasture. And I got to see Vadriff. Vadriff is the mother to Gazon, the mother to Olympic Star, the mother to Raphon. You know, they say Raphon on the West Coast, but it is Raphon. All of those great horses, Miss Gazon, I got to see all of those horses, and I was there when I saw Aramis when he came in, and he was just my partner, Herman Blaser, in the horse business, and we were just nuts over this horse because he was so ahead of his time. Came to this country for $16,000, ended up with Wayne Newton. But that's the one thing that I hope is that I was kind and I was helpful, because you never know how you influence a child. You know, you can be kind, you don't have to be rude and things like that. And I have often, you know, I even got myself in trouble one time because I teased a girl in high school, junior high school. And to this day, every time I see her at a class reunion, I beg her my forgiveness. You know, I'm sorry I did that. But that's, I think that's, you know, you try to keep your, you know, you want to feather your nest, but you want to keep it clean inside. So, but anyway. So.
Well, thank you for your candor and for just sharing everything that you did. Honestly, I could really sit here and listen to you all day long. You seem like a brilliant man, but I mean, just in
Don't let the brilliance fool you.
Yeah, well, no, but just in the limited experiences that I've had with you, you do approach the Arabians, and I imagine the rest of your life, with such passion and dedication, and I mean, it's apparent to me. So
one of my greatest friends was a man by the name of Dick Ames. Dick Ames was a humble man. He was a tough cookie. Don't let anybody tell you that he was always Mr. Congeniality. But he was a tough cookie, and he came from nothing, and he growled, and he built a huge business. He built a huge industry, but he always shared. And Lolly and Laura have continued to do these things, and so it's, you know, and it's even what you're doing today is to help perpetuate an industry that we all love, but you just can't be a taker. You have to give back, you know. And so yeah, I'm very passionate about what I do. I love it. I dread the day. It's like the last day I played on stage with my band after 35 years, knowing that I'd never do it again. It took me 2 years to be able to go watch another band perform because it was too hard on me. It was too much of my life. When I sold my cows, I had an auction sale, and the guy who bought my cows, half of them, he didn't pay for them, so I was almost relieved because I got some of the cows back and I got to keep them. And finally, after 2 years, I finally gave my wife her wish on our wedding anniversary, and I sold the last of the dairy cows. But you're going to do the first things in your life, and you're going to do the last things in your life. And it's what you do in between those things that's going to affect people, or, you know, or leave an impression or whatever. So anyway, you get too much philosophy in life, but that's, sorry.
I love it. I'll take anything you have to share. Well, at the risk of this running for 2 more hours, I just really thank you for sitting down to do this, and I appreciate you recognizing what we're trying to do, at least with this. I mean, one of the biggest things with HGTV, and I know with Arabian Horse Times, is to do things that preserve and promote the breed. And so it's people like you who help make this possible. So sincerely, I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
And so thank you for doing this. I know people are going to love to hear everything you have to say, horses and not. So All right. Well, thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate
All
it.
right, thank you.